Yeah, I just started the recording. Yeah. So see, whenever we talk about data science, whenever we talk about any AI project, okay, data science or any AI project there is a project life cycle that we have to follow, right? There is something that we have to follow, and what is that something? Let me try to discuss about that for now. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to do something called as Ramya, you will receive that. Just maybe wait for the end of the day. If you don't receive any certificates by the end of the day, just shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Okay. If you don't receive any Python certification, just shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Is that fine? All right. So in data science and AI, right, or machine learning or deep learning, there is a life cycle of project that you need to follow, right? All of you need to follow something, right? And what is that something? What do we need to do is we need to basically start with something called as business understanding. Business understanding, right? So what do I mean by business understanding? Let's try to first understand that. Okay. Business understanding simply means, let's say you are basically maybe analyzing data for cancer patients, right? Cancer patients, right? You are analyzing the data, you are analyzing the reports, you need to analyze the data from cancer patients, the people who are having cancer, right? Now, as a computer science student or as a data analyst, are you going to have knowledge of medical field, yes or no? Is it possible for you to have knowledge of medical field as a data scientist or as a computer science student? No, right? So you have to understand what business problem you need to solve by talking to someone called as SME, subject matter expert, right? In each business, in each, for example, when we talk about healthcare, right, there are some SMEs. I hope everyone knows that SMEs in healthcare or in medical domain are called as doctors, right? Is it making sense to everyone? So you need to talk to doctors, you need to understand what data you have in hand, right? For example, you might not know that there is something called as there might be multiple different blood tests, right? There might be multiple different blood tests, right? So there might be multiple different reports of blood tests, right? So you need to talk to the doctors, you need to talk to the SMEs in case of medical data, and you need to understand what each report means. Making sense to everyone, yes or no? Right? For example, if we talk about the data, maybe let's say the data looks like this, right? The data looks like this. Maybe let's say there is one column called as patient name, right? Maybe let's say it is XYZ, ABC, LMN, right? So there are multiple different patients, right? And for each patient, you have maybe let's say blood report, right? For maybe let's say blood report, something, right? So there might be something, maybe hemoglobin or maybe something like that. There might be something blood report 2 column, blood report 3 column, and so on, right? There might be multiple different columns. Now you need to understand, as a data scientist, you need to understand what data you have in hand, right? In order to understand that, you need to talk to these doctors. You need to talk to these doctors, and doctors will tell you ki this kind of cancer maybe, right? Blood report 1 is not that important, but blood report 2 is really very very important. This is a very important column to understand whether a patient is having cancer or not. Is it making sense to everyone? Right? So all this information will come from the doctors, right? It won't come from just by looking at the data, just by getting the data. You need to talk to the doctor, you need to talk to subject matter experts of the field to understand what data you have in hand, what data you are basically looking at, right? Whatever data it is, you just need to talk to some subject matter experts in order to understand the business problem, right? Now, this is the first step. Once you talk to all these doctors, once you talk to all the subject matter experts and understand the data, what is the next thing? The next thing is to simply do something called as data understanding, right? Exploratory data understanding or exploratory data analysis you have to perform, right? And in order to perform, yes, EDA, right? And in order to perform EDA or exploratory data analysis, there are multiple different things, right? First of all, you need to at least learn some libraries. You need to learn some libraries before even doing this exploratory data analysis, right? For example, you need to learn NumPy. You need to learn pandas. Yes, correct, right? You need to learn Matplotlib. You need to learn Matplotlib. You need to learn Seaborn, right? You need to learn all these things in order to perform data analysis, right? Similarly, you also need to know all the things, right? You need to know how to do univariate analysis. You need to know how to do bivariate analysis, right? You need to know statistics, right? You need to know all these things in order to be sure that you can do something called as, yes, correct, Alpha. Yesterday's session comes in handy whenever we talk about exploratory data analysis, right? Now, once we have done exploratory data analysis, what is the next phase? Next phase is something called as data preparation, right? Next phase is something called as data preparation. Data preparation, right? In data preparation, what you will do is you will try to basically do something like this. You will try to clean the data, right? Data cleaning steps you will do. You will do something called as feature engineering, right? You will do something called as feature engineering. You will do something called as missing value treatment, right? Missing value treatment. You will do something called as outlier treatment, right? You will do all sort of things with the data that you have in your hand in order to clean that data, right? Once you have the clean data, right, you will perform some encoding steps also, right? You will perform some encoding steps also, and you will try to prepare your data, right? You will try to prepare the entire data that you have in your hand. Is it making sense to everyone? I hope this makes sense to everyone till this point, right? Now, once you have prepared the data, once you have done all these things, then the next step comes, right? Which is nothing but machine learning model building, right? In machine learning, right, you will implement something called as ML models, right? Or you will simply implement some algorithms, machine learning algorithms, right, on the data that you have. Maybe let's say the data that you have, right, the data that you have looks like this, right? You have patient name, you have report 1, report 2, report 3, and so on up to maybe n reports, and finally you have cancer. You have a column called as cancer, which is having two values, yes or no. Are you all able to understand what kind of data am I talking about? I'm saying that you have multiple different columns with patient name, report 1, report 2, and so on up to all the reports. And finally, you have a column called as whether there is a patient, whether there is a cancer in the patient or not, right? So these all things, right? These all things basically will be there with you, right? Now, what you can do is you can build a machine learning model on top of this data to detect whether any future data point, right? Maybe let's say somebody, some other patient, maybe let's call that patient as 123. This patient comes, you will just ask this patient to get done with these reports. You will just ask this patient to bring up report number 1 and report number 2, and based on that you will predict whether the patient is having any cancer or not using these machine learning algorithms, right? This is something that we'll do starting from Tuesday onwards, right? Next week, Tuesday onwards, we'll try to do something like this. Is it making sense to everyone? Yes, Urval, I'm just very sorry for that. Okay, I forgot to start the recording at that time, but today I'm recording all these things. Okay. All right. Now the next step. Okay, let me try to first erase this part. Okay. The next step is, right, once we are done with the machine learning model, once we build the machine learning model, what is the next phase? What is the next step? Next step is to test your machine learning model, right? You can't just directly give this machine learning model to some hospital, right? You can't give this machine learning model directly to the hospital without even checking, without even testing your machine learning model. Making sense to everyone? Let me actually tell you why. Okay, let me actually tell you why we can't give this machine learning model directly to the hospital. Let's say there is a patient. Let's say there is a patient who comes to the hospital, right? Let's take two different scenarios, right? So let's say these are the two patients who are coming to the hospital. Now, instead of a doctor, you now have just a machine learning model on a computer, right? You have just installed a machine learning model on a computer. You just ask this patient, right? Whenever this patient comes and uses this computer in the hospital, you just ask this patient to fill in his report or her report number 1 and report number 2 along with the name of the patient. Okay, this is something that this model is basically asking this patient to basically fill up. Based on this data, the model is basically telling whether the patient is having any cancer or not. Maybe let's say this model is telling the patient that yes, you are having a cancer, but actually the patient was having no cancer, right? Maybe actually patient was having no cancer. It was just some symptoms of some disease, right? Because of which maybe model maybe is giving you the incorrect results. Maybe model is saying, yes, you have a cancer. Now, what kind of implication will this kind of thing will have? If I tell someone who is not having any cancer, if I tell them that they are having cancer, in the worst case, yes, in the worst case, the patient, in not even the worst case, everyone is going to panic at that point, right? At that point, everyone is going to panic. Everyone is going to, yes, correct, Shweta, we are going to come to that in the next week, right? By the way, it is called as false positive, as correctly pointed out by Shweta, right? We are going to come to that next week, but try to understand one thing here, right? Even if this patient was not having any cancer, and you told this patient that your model told this patient that yes, you are having cancer, in that scenario, maybe we can have a doctor here, right? Maybe we can have a doctor here who is going to, once somebody is detected with the cancer by the model, doctor is going to look at the reports, right? Doctor is going to look at the reports, and now he is going to finally tell whether yes, patient is having the cancer, or no, patient is not having the cancer, right? So this is something that you can put here, right? If somebody is detected with cancer, if your computer, if your model is saying that somebody is having cancer, your doctor can basically come into the picture, and he can see whether the patient is actually having the cancer or not. Now let's take another scenario. In this scenario, let's say this patient is having cancer. You submit the model, the report number 1, report number 2, along with your name, right? The patient's name. And now the model is saying, no, you are not having any cancer. Now, which one is a bad situation? Which one is a bad situation? Is situation number 1 bad, or situation number 2 bad? Try to think of it. Try to think of it. Which situation is worst, right? Which situation is bad? Yes, correct, right? Situation number 2 is bad, right? It is really very bad. Try to think of it. Let's say somebody was suffering with cancer, and your machine learning model just said that no, you are not having any cancer. This patient will happily go home, right? This patient will happily go home. Maybe for the last time he will be happy, right? So you don't know what is going to happen next, right? So it is really very dangerous situation. Situation number 2 is really very, very, very bad situation, right? Because in situation number 1, when the computer is detecting whether the patient is having a cancer or not, whether so if the in the situation number 1, whenever a model is saying yes, the patient is having cancer, maybe then you introduce the doctor, right? You are not introducing the doctor every time, right? If the model is saying no, the patient is not having cancer, so let's say doctors are not introduced at that step, right? So this situation can be really very bad, right? So next week we'll try to see how to handle these kind of situations. Yes, correct, Mohammed. Yes, you are correct. So maybe next week we are going to cover up these concepts. Okay. Now, do you understand that evaluation of model is very important? You have to evaluate the model, right? You have to evaluate whatever model you build. You have to evaluate it before productionizing that model. Before productionizing the model, you have to evaluate the model. Okay. And then finally, what you do, the sixth step is nothing but productionize the model. What do I mean by productionize the model? It simply means create a software application, and deploy it on cloud. Deploy it on cloud, right? So this is meant by last productionizing the model wala step. Is it clear to everyone how I do all these? What is the typical life cycle of a data science project? Now, can anyone tell me till now what are the things we have learned? Can anyone point out that this is the part where we are at right now? Right, we are at this point right now. Right, currently we are at this point. Next week we are going to learn step number 3, step number 4, step number 5, and some part of step number 6. Okay, some part of step number 6 we are going to learn all these things. On one day we are going to learn this thing, one day we are going to learn this thing, one day we are going to spend our time on this thing, one day we are going to spend our time on learning step number 6. Is the agenda of next week also clear to everyone? I also showed you what is the complete typical life cycle of a project, right? And there is a very what do we say, popular name for this life cycle. This life cycle is called as CRISP DM framework. CRISP DM framework. Right, this framework, so right, so this entire life cycle is called as CRISP DM framework. Now what do I mean by CRISP DM framework? This entire life cycle, right? If you have any data set in hand, you have to follow this life cycle, this entire life cycle, in order to complete your project, right? So this is something that is meant by CRISP DM framework, and the full form of CRISP DM framework is nothing but CR means cross, I means industry, standard, protocol for data mining, right? Or cross industry standard process for data mining. Is that fine? No, data visualization will come under this exploratory data analysis. All right. Data visualization, working on Tableau, working on Excel sheets, all that comes under data exploratory data analysis. Right? When we talk about deployment, it simply means whatever model you have built, you have to deploy it over the internet, over the cloud. Making sense now? So see, alpha, that is totally a different problem. Okay. So NLP, deep learning, that is totally, so we are talking about any typical data science life cycle. Okay. For example, let's say, let me take an example. Okay. Let me take an example so that it makes sense for you. So let's say we want to, right, given some data to us, given some data, right? Let's say the data that is given to us is something like this, right? The data that is given to us is something like this. I am given with some reviews, right? Review number 1, review number 2, review number 3, and so on up to review number, maybe let's say 100, right? And each review is collected from, maybe let's say, Amazon website, right? Have you ever seen that whenever you go to an Amazon website and you open up any product, right? So there are some customer reviews at the end of the page, right? There are some customer reviews and rating, customer reviews and rating at the end of the page. Have you ever seen that, guys? Have you ever seen that? I hope everyone has seen that, right? So you will have that this person is saying that it is a 5-star product, and they are saying this is a lovely product. Maybe let's say somebody is saying 1 star. I hate this product. I hate this product. This product, right? Battery is very bad. Battery is very bad, right? Let's say there are these two reviews. Now, can anyone tell me whether the sentiment behind the first product is positive or a negative sentiment? What kind of sentiment do you see from the first product review? Yes, positive, right? Person is happy, right? Person is happy by buying, after buying this product. What about person number 2? What about person number 2? What kind of sentiment do you see? You see a negative sentiment, right? You see a negative sentiment. We as a human being, we are very maybe we can say that it is very easy for us to understand the sentiments, right? It is very easy for us to understand the sentiments. But is it really the case that computers can also understand the sentiments? Is it possible for a computer to understand emotions or sentiments? No, right? If they can understand the sentiment, they will become Chitti the robot, right? They will become Chitti the robot. Right? So this is something that we have to, let's say this is a problem that we are trying to solve. Okay, let's say this is a problem that we are trying to solve. We have multiple different product reviews, right? So there is a column which contain all the reviews from, maybe let's say top 100 maybe product reviews, right, from Amazon website. These are the 100 reviews that we have, and on the right hand side there is sentiment column. Yeah, there is something called a sentiment column, which basically tells whether a product review is positive or negative. Positive or negative. Positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. All this thing is present here. Now, everyone understood what kind of data we have? We have the text data which contains the entire review, right? We don't have rating. We don't have rating data. We only have the text data. And along with the text data, maybe somebody, some human being, they just read the entire review and they tried to mention what kind of review is it. Whether it is a positive review or a negative review, let's say some human being was assigned this task to basically do this thing, to fill up this entire table. Is it clear to everyone what kind of data we have? Is it clear to everyone? Now let's say let's say I want to see what are all the life cycle things. There is something called as business understanding, right? There is something called as data understanding, right? There is something called as data cleaning. There is something called as model building, right? I'm so sorry for my handwriting, guys. So there is something called as evaluating the model, right? And finally, there is something called as deploying the model, right? Building the application and deploying the model is the final step. So these are all the 6 steps that we just saw in CRISP-DM framework, right? Now, try to understand this thing. Let's say we are talking about this problem, which is an NLP problem, right? We are having some text data, we are having some reviews, and along with the reviews, we have what kind of sentiment is there, right? Now, what do we need to create is, let's say, business problem. The business problem that is given to us is, in future, if somebody comes to my website and they try to put some comment on some product, I want to understand whether it is a positive comment or a negative comment without even putting any human effort in between. Is it making sense to everyone? I want to make my system, I want to make my computer or software able to understand whether the comment that the people are writing is positive or negative. Is the business problem clear to everyone? Is the business problem clear to everyone? Bolo? What about rest of the people? Is it making sense to everyone? So we are going a little far away from the topic that we are at, right? So let's not worry about that. Let's try to worry about the fundamentals, right? So now what we can do is, we can, as a data scientist, we can understand the data, right? We can create some plots, we can look at some statistical data, right, to understand what data we have in our hand. Okay, what data we have in our hand. Let's say we are going to do something like this. How many of you actually want to do this kind of project in the next week? Anyone who wants to maybe build this kind of project? We can do this. Okay, if you want, we can do something like this. All right, so next week I'll take an NLP project. Okay, next week I'll teach you machine learning, and then we'll take an NLP project and solve that NLP project using machine learning. Okay, is that fine? Perfect. Chalo. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to clean the data, right? Maybe some rows are missing, right? Maybe some rows are missing. Maybe let's say some review is missing, and we need to delete that review, right? We need to delete that row, right? It is okay, Shweta. So if you have joined late, just let me ask one question. Have you filled the form yesterday? Okay, perfect. So if you have filled the form yesterday, you don't have to worry about thing, right? So you can go back and check the YouTube for recordings. Okay, Ajay, you haven't filled the form. See, I will just share the form, that certification link. Okay, you just fill up the form. I will share the certificates by Monday. Okay, for this session, data analysis, foundations of data analysis, you will receive the certification by Monday. Okay, just fill up this form. All right. Now, what is the next thing, right? Once you clean the data, once you clean up all the outliers and everything, you need to build a model, right? This is where the entire NLP is going to come into picture. Okay. Okay, Alpha, right? So this is where you are going to have all the NLP. You have to implement all the NLP things on this point in time, right? While building the model, you need to make sure, as well as cleaning the data, you need to make sure that you use all the NLP concepts to basically make your data, right, create a data frame in such a way that you can implement some machine learning algorithms on top of it. Once you do that, all these steps are going to be same. This step is always the same for all the kind of models that you build, right? The 2 steps are always same. These steps are going to take to be a little bit more lengthy steps. Now, can you tell me what is that step, right? So we have how many steps? Step number 1, right? Step number 1, step number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which step will take the lot of time? Anyone who knows about this? What is that step which takes a lot of time? Yes, correct. Step number 2 and step number 3 are those steps, right? 70% of the time for a data scientist or a machine learning engineer is going to be spent on this data cleaning and understanding the data. Yes, Akshay, right? Step number 2 and step number 2 are really very heavy steps. Okay, no matter how good data scientist or machine learning engineer you are going to anyway spend a lot of time on step number 2 and step number 3, right? So just try to make sure that you understand step number 2 and step number 3 in more detail, okay? Because this is something in even in interviews people are going to focus a lot on these 2 steps for any data scientist role. Yes, correct, Yash. Data wrangling. Yes. Data manipulation, data wrangling, data cleaning, all these things. Right? Pre-processing steps. Yes, correct. Yes, Avnish, it is pre-processing steps. Is it fine with everyone now? Yes, Alpha. Based on these 6 steps, you will do machine learning and deep learning, any project in machine learning and deep learning. These are the 6 steps you have to follow. Perfect. Now let's try to do this step number 2. Okay, today let's try to maybe focus on step number 2. Next week we are going to focus on step number 3 and step number 4. Okay, step number 3 and step number 4, we are going to focus on these 2 steps in the next week. Okay, so do not, please, I will request each and every one of you to attend the session starting from this Tuesday, because trust me, machine learning is something which is my core field. Okay, so I really love teaching machine learning, and I really love working on machine learning projects. Okay, so just make sure that everyone attends the session that are starting from Tuesday onwards. Right, we are going to spend around 5 days, right, and we are going to learn all these steps. We are going to learn step number 3, we are going to learn step number 4, we are going to learn 5 and 6 step. Okay, I won't be able to go into the mathematics of machine learning in only 5 days, because trust me, understanding the mathematics behind machine learning is very difficult, right? It is very difficult, and I can give you that most of the people who teach machine learning, they will never go into the mathematics. They will only teach you the fundamentals and the basics behind machine learning, right? But here, when we go into the advanced course from Technology for All, you will see that we are going to cover each and every concept in machine learning. We are going to cover each and everything, like all the mathematics. We are going to cover each and everything at a very affordable price when we go to an advanced level course in machine learning. Okay, is that fine with everyone? Perfect. Now let's go ahead and try to understand a case study. Okay, a very simple case study, a fun case study actually. So let's try to do that. So yeah, can everyone see the browser? I will try to end up the session today early, maybe by 6. Okay, so that we can go home. I hope everyone is at home now, right? So that you can chill, right? So we'll try to end up the session within next 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. All right. Now this is okay. Perfect. That is perfect, Alpha. So let's look into this thing now. Okay. Now let's say what is the first thing I'm trying to do? What is the first thing I'm trying to do? What is this thing that I'm trying to do? Anyone who recalls the previous lecture, the last lecture? Yes, we are importing, we are basically loading the data, right? We are loading the data using read CSV, right? We are loading the data using read CSV, and we are doing that inside a folder, sorry, inside a variable called as tips, right? We are loading it inside a variable called as tips instead of df, right? Till now we have loaded the data inside df. Now I am loading the data inside a variable called as tips, right? It can be any variable, right? It can be any variable, no matter what name you keep. It can be any variable, right? You can keep any name here. Now instead of df.head, I'm writing tips.head, right? I'm writing tips.head instead of df.head. Now, can you understand what the data is all about? It is the data from some restaurant, right? It is a data from some restaurant, and it is basically having these 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 different columns, right? The first column, right? Okay, so the first column, right, the first column is about total bill, right? So the total bill that was paid by the customer, right, who came to the restaurant, right? For example, the 0th row basically shows you that the total bill paid by the customer, right, whose sex was female, was around $16.99, right? The person who paid the bill was female, and the total bill paid by the female was around $16.99, right? And was the person smoker? No, the person was not smoker, right? The day was Sunday, right? Time was dinner time, right? These there were two people, right? There were two people who came on for a dinner, right? For a dinner. and they paid, they basically ordered things, and their bill was around $16.99, right? And the tip was around $1.01, right? So these people, they tipped the waiter with $1.01, right? Similarly, if you see this, right, if you see this, there was a guy, right? There was some people, right? How many people? Actually, there were two people who came for a dinner again on Sunday, right? There was no smoker in the group, right? And they paid a bill of like $23.68, right? Right, and they tipped for they gave a tip of around 3.31, right? So females, they are conscious while giving the tips to the waiters, right? So normally male will give a better tip to a waiter, right? So I've seen that. Right, so these things normally happens, right? So even if you see this, right, there were three people, right? There were three people who came to the restaurant. Their total bill was around $10.34, right? And the tip given to the waiter was around 1.66, right? See the difference, right? So they ate, these people, they ate for like $16.99, right? The total bill was around $16.99, but the tip was very low, right? They gave a very less in the tip to the waiter. Maybe the waiter was not nice to them. Maybe something might have happened, right? So this is the data in hand. Everyone understood the data? So I just showed you what are all the columns in the data, right? Now let's go down and try to understand all the basic things about the data, right? Right. So can you see this? Can you see this? That in data we have total 244 rows and 7 columns, right? We have just seen, right? We have exactly 7 columns, and the total number of rows in the data will be around 244. Right? Yes, Ashwarya, there will be a combo of male and female, right? So the person who paid the bill, so we only know the sex of that person. Okay, we only know the sex of the person who is paying the bill, right? Maybe male and females are coming to the restaurant. Maybe these two people, they were on a date, and they were basically having a bill of around $16.99. But the person who paid the bill was female. Maybe that is the case. Okay, is that fine? All right. Now let's go down. Let's go down. Now I hope everyone. Let's look at this thing. Right. What we are doing now is, uh, now let's look into this thing. Right. So we are just trying to, Samir. We are just trying to see all the columns. Right. We are just trying to, yeah. We are just trying to look at the data. What each row means. Right. What each column means. Sorry. Right. So that is what we are trying to do there. Right. Now, what we are trying to do is, yes, I think total bill will include the tip. I'm not sure about that, Akshay. So maybe total bill will include tip. I'm not sure. Okay. But normally total bill won't include tips, right? Tip is something that normally people will give after having that total bill, right? Whenever you receive a total bill, yes, separate tips are there, right? So normally total bill won't contain tips. So let's assume that there is no, so it is not included in the total bill. Yeah, sometimes it is possible. Yes, sometimes it is possible, but normally it won't be possible, right? Yes, I will talk about that, Shweta. So Shweta correctly pointed out again that this is something that we have written here. Now, do you remember when we write describe function, we will get minimum, maximum, mean, median, standard deviation. We will get 25th percentile and 70th percentile. It means that we will only get the description of numerical columns. Remember that? We will only get the description of numerical column whenever we do describe, right? Now, if I said include all, right? If I say include all, right? Do you see that there is something called as sex, smoker, day, and time? These are all non-numerical columns, right? And we are able to look into the description of these columns as well. Making sense to everyone? These are non-numerical columns, and we are also able to look at some information about these columns, right? What are the kind of information we can see about these columns? If you see that, if you see this, right? So these are the 4 columns, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, which are non-numerical. And for these 4 columns, these are the 4 different things that we can see, right? If you see that in sex column, right, you have total 244 unique rows, right? and there are two unique values, right? It means male and female, right? Similarly, it is saying that male is top. What do I mean by male as top? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what is male top means? Yes, correct. Right. So out of male and female, right? Out of male and female, number of time males are paying the bill is more, right? Number of times the person who is paying the bill is male is more, right? Similarly, about smoker, right? Do you see that total top is again no, right? So they mostly the people who are coming to the restaurant are non-smoker, right? Samir is very sad now. All right. Again, if we look at this thing, right? So do you see that? What do you understand from this? What do you understand from this, guys? Anyone who can tell me that? Unique is 4. What do I mean by this? In day column, you have unique equal to 4. What do I mean by this? Yes, there are exactly 4 different days, right? Right. Only 4 different days are there. For example, maybe you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, right? Just 4 days, right? Not all the 7 days, only the 4 days in the week, right? And do you see that Saturday is something that is more frequent, right? Saturday is the topmost, right? Saturday is the topmost. Now, similarly, you can also look into the frequency, right? Male is top, right? And out of 244, how many times males are paying? 157. Similarly, out of 244, how many people are non-smoker? The frequency is 151, right? Out of all the days, right, 4 days are there, right? Only 4 days are there. And if you see this thing, right, you will observe that Saturday is occurring 87 times. And if you see this again, you will see that out of 244, the time is dinner. And there is only 2 unique times. Maybe it is lunch and dinner, right? Maybe it is lunch and dinner. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Now let's look into what are these 4 unique days. Okay, let's look at what are these 4 unique days. Maybe it is Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? Let's see what are these 4 unique days. In order to do that, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to look into this thing, right? I'm just saying tips is the data frame name, day is the column, and I just want to do something called as value counts on this column. If I do value counts on a column which is categorical in nature, I will get this information. I will get all the categories, whatever is there, and how many times this category is occurring. Right? Do you see now Saturday is the maximum occurring category? Right? In the day column, Saturday is the maximum occurring category. And what are all the 4 days? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Right? Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays are the 4 different days. Is it fine with everyone? Yes or no? All right, now let's move down. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to look into something called as a strip plot. Okay, so today I'm again showing you some new plots. Along with that, I'm also showing you some EDA, right? So strip plot, what it will do is it will try to take 2 different things, right? The first thing, you have to give it in the form of category, right? So this should always be a category, right? It should be a categorical column, and second column should be a numerical column. Always remember that, guys. Okay, it should be a numerical column. So what kind of plot is it? Is it a bivariate or a univariate plot? Is it a bivariate or a univariate plot? It is a bivariate, right? We are using 2 columns, right? We are using 2 columns. It is a bivariate plot, and you have to understand that always in a strip plot you have to put one column which is a categorical column and another column which is a numerical column in order to have this entire plot. Okay, now do you see that on Sunday you have this entire distribution of total bills, right? So if you see that there is a data point over here, right? So which looks like around 50, right? So on Saturday somebody came and paid around $50 ka bill, right? There was somebody who paid around $50 ka bill. No, it is not an outlier, right? Most of the data points are very close to each other. We will see. Maybe this person came for a party, right? This person came for a birthday party or maybe something like that. Making sense to everyone? Or maybe this person bought maybe some very expensive wine or something like that, okay, because of which this person is having the maximum bill. Is it clear? If you see this, all the chindi chores will come on Friday, right? All the people who don't eat anything, right? Not so most of the people are having a bill of less than 30, right? So most of the people who are having very less bills are coming on Friday. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Yes or no? Okay. I was just kidding over there. Okay. So let's go down. Now again, do you remember the scatter plot that we showed that we discussed yesterday? Do you remember the scatter plot that we discussed yesterday? Right? In scatter plot, you remember that we again looked at something called as hex bin plot. You remember that hex bin plot? Scatter plot was having a problem, right? What if we won't be able to understand how many data points are there, right? In this region, we don't know how many data points are there, right? Is it making sense to everyone? It is by default, Rajesh. It is by default, right? So Hexbin plot helps us to understand the density of each and every part of the plot, right? So similarly, instead of having the Hexbin plot here, what we can do is we can have something called as a swarm plot, right? We can have something called as swarm plot. I hope everyone has done something like this. If you are looking at a photo, if you are looking at a photo and if you want to zoom in the photo, you will pinch out on the screen of your phone, right? If you want to basically look into the photo, if you want to zoom into the photo, you will simply pinch out, right, on the photo, right? So something similar to that will happen here. Okay, you will simply scatter around, around all these data points in order to understand what is the density of all the data points, right? Now do you see it just simply scattered around all the data points, right? So this part was heavily crowded, so it was basically scattered around using this swarm plot, right? So swarm plot is a better choice instead of a strip plot. Maybe it is a better choice to use swarm plot on the data. Is it fine? When you have a categorical data point, categorical column and a numerical column, just try to put a swarm plot. But make sure that if the data points are more than, maybe let's say 5,000 or maybe more, right? If number of data points are more than 5,000 or even 3,000, right? Even 3,000, swarm plot will look very ugly. Okay, swarm plot will look very ugly. Just try to do that maybe as an exercise today. Okay, try to see what kind of swarm plot you get if you have 5,000 data points. Okay, now what I'm trying to do next is I'm trying to utilize box plot. Everyone remembers box plot was for univariate analysis. You remember this thing? Box plot was for a univariate analysis. But now I'll show you how you can use box plot even for bivariate analysis. Right? In order to use box plot for bivariate analysis, you need one column as categorical, right? One column should be categorical and one column should be numerical, right? In univariate analysis, the column that you should use box plot on, it should be a numerical column, right? It should be a numerical column. Whenever you use box plot, just make sure that the column you are using box plot on should be a numerical column. If you are using box plot for bivariate analysis, right? If you are using box plot for bivariate analysis or visualization, make sure that one of the column is numerical and one of the column is categorical. Okay. Now, what can you observe from this box plot? Can anyone tell me what is something that you observe from this box plot? What is something that you observe from this box plot? Can I observe that on each day, what are all the outliers? Can I see what are all the outliers for each day? For Sunday, these are the data points which are outliers, right? For Saturday, these are the outliers. For Thursday, these are the outliers, and for Friday, this is the outlier, right? Similarly, can I also see what is the average bill on each day? Can I see the average bill on each day? Average bill or median bill on each day, right? You can see that. So can anyone tell me what is which day, on which day average bill was maximum? On which day average bill was maximum? Bill was maximum on Sunday, right? On Sunday, if you see that the middle line shows the average, right? So on Sunday the average bill was maximum. If you see this, right, this line is lower than this, the Sunday wala line. It is again lower, right? It is almost equivalent to Thursday wala line, Fridays and Thursdays wala line, right? So do you see on Sundays you are having a better business, right? On Sundays people are basically spending more. Is it making sense to everyone? Yes or no? All right. Now let's move ahead. Let's look into a couple more things, right? For example, what I'm trying to do here, anyone who can write a select query for this? Can anyone write the select query? Do you remember we have seen something called as select query, right? So I already showed you something called as a data frame query. Can you write a select query for this? Can you convert this entire thing to a select query? If you can do that, it will make sense that it will show me that you actually understood the entire concept. How many people can write the select query? SQL wala select query. Try to write that. Okay. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes. Just let's see how many people can write the select query now. Okay. So what is the table name? Yes, select query. SQL wala select query, right? So we have seen in pandas wala class that how to write that query. Yes, correct, Shweta. Shweta is exactly. So that is the query that I was looking for, right? So let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it. How to write the query for this thing, right? So first of all, what is this thing? What are we trying to do here? You remember it was called as something called as L se shuru hota hai. It starts with an L, so dash based indexing. What kind of indexing is it? Label. It is label based indexing, right? It is label based indexing. Okay. So it is a label based indexing, not the positional based indexing, right? Now, what I'm doing next, I'm trying to say, right? There is a comma here. Okay. So let's try to understand. It means row, it means column, right? Now, if you see column is having this column, right? For column, you have this column here. So it means that we are saying select all the columns, right? Select all the columns. And what do we do in the select query? We simply write a star there, right? We simply write a star there from from data from the table name, right? Table name is tips. Table name is tips, right? Where, right? So we have to select some rows, right? Where this time is where time is lunch. LUNCH. No, Akshay, it doesn't mean all data. It means all column. This is one of the most important interview question that has been asked. Okay. So I actually ask a lot of time whenever I take an interview, I will ask this question that what do you mean by this star? Does it mean all the data or something else? So people normally 99.9% of the time people will say that it means all data, right? So this shows that people doesn't actually know about these things, right? So this star simply means all, instead of all data it means all columns. For example, Akshay, if you want to select only the maybe let's say size data, right? If you only want to look into this column, what should you write? How would you write this query? Let's say I only want to look at the size column. How would you write this query? Write the same query. How would you write it? You would say select, you would say select size, right? You would mention all the columns that you need to select. Yes, right? You will mention all the columns that you need to select, right? So this star simply means all the columns, right? You don't need to write all the names of the columns. So SQL has this shorthand notation star, which simply means I need to look at all the columns where time is lunch on this data frame. Is it fine now? Okay, I was just trying to make sure that everyone understands what we are doing in pandas. Okay, that's why I just try to connect the dots between pandas as well as SQL. Okay, so because most of the people already knew SQL, so I just wanted to connect the dots between SQL and pandas. Okay, so everything that you do in pandas can be replicated in SQL again. Okay, now let's go down. Let's go down. What I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to just see for this lunch time, right? What about the day column? I'm trying to just look into the value counts of the day column. Okay, I'm just selecting the day column from the tips table where time is lunch, and I'm doing something called as value counts, right? So for lunch time, if you see this, for lunch time only Thursdays and Fridays people are coming, right? People for lunch time on Thursdays and Friday people are coming for lunch, but they are not coming for on Saturdays and Sundays for lunch. You observe this, right? So if I even if I go up, you see that I was trying to select all the columns, right, from this table where time was lunch, right? I was trying to do that. Now, do you see the date? The day is always Fridays or Thursdays, right? Always the day is Thursdays and Fridays. So I was just curious in order to understand whether there is any Sundays or Saturdays in between, because if you see that, right, there are not. So I can't see all the rows, right? So there is a dot 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 here, right? So which means that some rows are skipped, right? So I just wanted to see whether all the Saturdays and Sundays are included or not, right? So this is what I'm trying to do here. Okay, I'm also trying to visualize this part. Okay, I'm also trying to visualize this part. I'm saying that I want to create a box plot on this table, right, where x is a categorical column, y is a numerical column, right? Again, everyone please remember that x should be a categorical and y should be a numerical column when you try to create a box plot for bivariate analysis, right? And I'm putting hue equal to time. If I put hue equal to time here, what actually happens is, right, what actually happens is, for each day two plots will be there, two box plots will be there, right? If you see this, right, all the people who are coming on Sundays, they came for dinner, right? There is no box plot here which is for lunch, right? Because lunch wala is going to be in the orange color, right? So again, for Saturday everyone came for dinner, for Thursday everyone came for lunch, for Friday again, see, on Friday you see that people are coming for lunch as well as for dinner. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone, yes or no? Yes, Mohammed, that can be the case. Maybe they closed for lunch on Saturdays and Sunday, or maybe we don't have enough data, right? That can also be true, right? Maybe we don't have enough data. Making sense? Yeah. So let's go down. Let's go down. Right now, so this was all about that data set, right? This was all about this data set builds, sorry, tips, right? So just try to maybe have a look at this data set, go to my GitHub account and you will be able to find this data set. Okay, just try to maybe do your own analysis if you want. Okay, let me try to again show you another data set, which is Titanic data set. Okay, Titanic data set, let's look at this. Everyone knows about Titanic, yes or no? Everyone knows about Titanic. So the ship, yeah, the ship yeah, correct. Yeah. So let's look into that data. Okay, let's see how many people survived and who were all these people. Um, uh, who were all these people who survived this Titanic? Okay. Yes, Ashwarya, I'll give that. Just wait for some time. Okay, let me try to quickly in 15 minutes. Let's try to complete this case study. Okay, and then I will share the GitHub link. Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to do in the first case, I'm just trying to upload or simply load the data inside this data frame called as Titanic. Durga, it won't be possible because of the limited time. Okay, maybe later on, just try to go to YouTube and try to see how to use Jupyter Notebook. Okay, just try to do that on YouTube. Okay, you will be able to see how to use this tool, how to write this entire code. Okay, I'm just explaining you how to do this stuff. Okay, in order to use this tool, okay, try to maybe look at YouTube wala thing. Okay, or maybe next week I'll try to show you how to write some code. Okay, or even if you want to look at how to write this entire thing, maybe go back to the previous week's content. Okay, you can find that on YouTube. Previous week, right, last week I showed you how to write this entire notebook, right? I showed you how to write the code on the Jupyter notebook, and how to use it. It happened last week. Okay, maybe try to go back and try to see those videos. Okay. All right. Now, what I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to look at the head of the data frame, right? In simple terms, I'm looking at top five rows, right? Now, if you see couple of columns, let's try to understand that. Okay. So if you see this, this is called as survived, right? So survived 0 means that the person didn't actually survived. Survive 1 means person actually survived, right? 1 means survived, yes. It means no, person doesn't survive, didn't survive. Is it clear to everyone? It means yes, the person survived. Now, do you see something interesting here? No, I'm not going to show the entire solution. I'm just showing you the visualization, Yash. Okay, and not the entire solution. I'm just showing you the visualizations, couple of visualizations. Okay. It is about EDA. Okay, so just that. Can anyone tell me something very interesting about just by looking at this column? Guys, can you please tell me something interesting about this column? Yes, it is Boolean, but do you see something interesting here? Do you see the sex of people who didn't survive? Try to see. Try to see the sex of people who didn't survive, right? Just see the gender of people who didn't survive. So next time, whenever you go to any ship or maybe anywhere, just try to become Chachi 420. Okay, there is a more chance for females to survive. We'll try to see that. Okay, we'll try to see that. Okay, we'll come to that. We'll try to see whether females actually survived more than male or not. Okay, for all the bechare males. Okay, so let's look into that. Okay. Yeah. So how many people were there on Titanic? If you see this data, there were around 891 data points, right? There were around 891 data points. We'll try to again look into this, right? So we'll try to look into this. So we are doing a describe, right? We are just doing a describe. Maybe if you want, you can look into the details of this entire thing later on after the class. Okay, I'm not going into the details of this. Let's try to look into something interesting, some interesting visualizations. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to plot something called as a bar plot. Now, what bar plot will do is, bar plot will tell you what is the average. For example, what I'm doing is I'm doing age on the x on the y-axis, right? So it is telling me what is the average age for male and female, right? So on average, do you see that average male age was around 31 years old, right? Whereas average female age was around 26 years old, right? Everyone understood this? Everyone understood this? So this is going to show you, bar plot is actually going to show you what is the average age, right? Because we are looking at the age column here. Yes, correct, Avanish. Mean or median, correct. So by default, it is going to show you mean. It is showing you by default mean wala thing. Okay, let me show you median also. Okay, let me show you median also. So in order to do that, what I'm doing is I'm just saying that I want to create a bar plot between sex and age on the data Titanic, right? Where estimator is used as np.median, right? So if you see this plot, it is about median. On the left hand side, the plot is about mean. It is the previous plot, whereas this one is the new plot, right? It includes median age, it includes average or mean age. Is it clear? You can do both the things using bar plot. Is that fine? Is that fine with everyone, guys? Now let's see the next thing, right? Let's see, is there any outliers, right? So if we have one, what do we say, categorical and one numerical column, we can do box plot also, right? So do you see some male data points are outliers, right? Somebody with this, somebody who was a male is having around 80 years of age, right? Some people are having, so there are people with more than 70 years of age and in male data set, right? But in female, you see that there is nobody beyond 60, right? We can't see that. We can't see any data points beyond 60 here. How many are able to understand this thing? Now let's look into something interesting now, okay? Let's look into X, sex, and Y survive. Okay, let's try to create a bar plot for that. Okay, let's create a bar plot for that. On X-axis, you will have sex, male and female, right? And on y-axis we will have survived. Okay, we will have survived. We'll see how many percentage of males survived. Out of all the males, how many males survived, and out of all females, how many females survived. Let's see what kind of plot do we have. Now, do you see? Out of all the females, around 75% of females survive, and out of all the males, around only 20% of the males survive. Right? So that's why I was saying bechare. Right? Is it making sense to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Yes or no? Now let's look into one more interesting thing. Okay, if I go back to the data set, let me try to show you something interesting. There is something called as P class, right? There is something called as P class. What do I mean by, so what is this P class? This means that it is a third class ticket, right? So do you know that economical class is there? There is so all these kind of classes will be there when you try to purchase the tickets on a plane or on a ship, right? So it is a third class, it is a first class. There is first class, second class, and the third class tickets, like general ticket and first AC coach, something like that. Okay, is it making sense? So let's try to see whether this P class is having any impact on the survival of person. Maybe people who bought first class ticket, right? The people who bought first class ticket, they are having more chances of survival. Maybe that is the case, right? Let's try to have a look at that. Okay, let's try to have a look at that. See, see, if you see this, right? If you see this, right, out of all the females, right, out of all the females who bought the first class ticket, almost all of these females survived, right? Almost all the females, almost 100% of the female who bought the first class ticket, including Rose, all the people survived. Making sense to everyone? Is it making sense? So even people, even females who bought second class ticket, because see, whenever we talk about anything, right, so always females and children's people, so generally it is like this, right? Ladies first, right, and children's first, right? So people were all the people, or the all the males were humble enough to give, to basically make sure that all the females and children's are okay, right? Which is really very good, right? Which is really very good. But looking at this data set, you will observe all these things very easily. Making sense to everyone, guys? Yes, Humayu. So we don't have that data. Okay, Yash. So there is no gender equality here, according to you. Yes, but normally, see, this will happen, right? If there is something, let's say you are somebody, maybe let's say you are on some place, right? And maybe let's say if I am somewhere, right? So I will always prioritize my mother, or maybe my parents, right, over my life, right? So this is something that happened there, right? Making sense to everyone? Yeah, right. So let's look into the last plot for today, right? So what we are looking at here is nothing but the different classes, right? The ticket class that were there. So there was something called as first class, second class, and third class. If you see, there were so many people with this third class, this ticket or something, right? But whereas first class and second class was around 200 count, right? The count of people with first class and second class ticket were around 200 each, whereas third class ticket people were around 500. Right? Yes, many of the people will buy general class tickets, right? So that is the case. Now, how many people are able to understand this entire thing? Everyone was able to understand it. So I tried to make it a little fun. So I hope nobody was offended by all these things. Okay, it was just for fun. So these things actually we should, so that is something that I actually expect. Okay, so this is how normally you will try to do the what do we say, exploratory data analysis. Yes, it is a weekend musty. So just try to make sure that everyone do this entire exercise. Maybe try to take some Titanic data set. Okay, just go to Google and try to search for Titanic data set. Titanic data set. Okay, you would find a Titanic data set and try to do your own observations. Is that fine with everyone? Is that fine? Just try to do your own observations on Titanic data sets. Okay, and it will be really amazing if you can maybe write a blog on that. Okay, just make sure that everyone write a blog on whatever you do, so that it is easy for me to also look into all these things. Is that fine? Okay. Yes, Shweta, I've actually posted all the things for the community, right? So when I started learning, it was very early. I learned all these things in 2015 and before that. So I just wanted to share all the things that I know with the community, right? So there are many people who ask for all these things, so that's why I posted all the things on my GitHub.